What is up, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about 5 Disney events that you may want to plan your trip around that you may not know about.
Yep, so these are all things that we've done, participated in, had a lot of fun with, and we think that you might too.
Now, if you are a Disney expert and you do all sorts of different Disney events and know where to find all of these events, some of these may not be a surprise to you, especially one of the bigger ones on here. But maybe if you are just someone who comes down and does kind of a normal trip to Disney, a week long, hit the parks, go home, some of these may interest you and maybe something that you want to plan a future trip around. So our first one is the Disney Pin Trading Celebration. Not a lot of people know this happens, but once a year in the World Showplace Pavilion at Epcot, there is a weekend-long pin trading event. And there's all sorts of different things that go on. There's a different theme every year, and they sell, of course, Disney pins for this event that you can get. And then there's also tons of pin trading, both between different pin traders, and they do pin trading boards, where you go up to a board and you trade 2 pins, and you actually have the opportunity to sometimes get like some more rare or valuable pins off of that board for more or less your regular traders.
Yep, so I went to this event for the first time with Lake 2 summers ago, and I will admit that while I like buying pins that are, related to certain events or particularly special to me, I'm not a huge pin trader, and I don't follow as much the history, the limited runs, all of that jazz is not my thing. I still had a great time. I went with him. He's obviously very passionate about it, but as someone who's kind of not quite as deep in the world, super fun, met a lot of really cool people, and would definitely recommend it.
This is an event I definitely look forward to each year, although sometimes we're not able to make it, but it is very cool and very unique if you're into pin trading.
Yep, and I had no idea it existed, so it's definitely kind of a little hidden gem. The next events, plural, that you may not realize happen are the Destination D23 events.
So, of course, a lot of people know about D23, happens every 2 years in Anaheim, big Disney expo. And if you're a D23 member, you certainly know about both of these. That's a big one. But on the off years of that, Destination D happens in Walt Disney World, and this is a slightly smaller event that takes place at Contemporary, and they focus more on kind of Disney history and that sort of thing in the panels, opposed to D23, where it's a lot of big reveals, movie reveals, and that sort of thing.
Right, and we haven't actually had the opportunity to go over to it yet, but it's definitely on our short list of things we want to experience next time it comes around.
If you're a Disney history buff, then Destination D is definitely an event you may want to look into.
Yes, and I would say worth planning a trip around. We're obviously local, but if you're out of state, it's a great time of year to look at coming down to Disney if you want to participate in that.
Our next one is maybe our most low-key of these, and that's resort events or holiday celebrations. Not specifically talking about Mickey's Merry or the Halloween events per se, but some of the smaller events that happen on property that you may not have heard of. For instance, if you were coming over July 4th weekend, Fort Wilderness, as well as some other resorts, do a barbecue and fireworks showing. So rather than spending all day in a packed out park, you can relax on a beach, have a guaranteed spot, and get different food and drinks. Sometimes there's character interactions as well, and it's just a little more of a relaxed experience.
Yep, and they have opportunities for you to see the fireworks shows. If you're at Fort Wilderness, you can see Magic. If you're at the Boardwalk area, you can see Epcot's huge show. This is almost more just like a reminder to not sleep on the activities at the resorts. Definitely go to your resorts, webpage, look at all of their extras. A lot of them have boat, water activities. The recreation staff at all of the Disney resorts are great, and they do lots of extra things. So make sure you're paying attention to that because they have a lot of really fun options. The next one that you may be aware of, but we find that a lot of people really aren't, are the Run Disney events.
Yeah, so if you already subscribe to our page, you are probably already well aware of what Run Disney is. But if this is your first time and you haven't heard of it, Run Disney are distance race events that happen on Walt Disney World property, potentially again in the future in Disneyland, but not currently.
And they are super fun. We're huge fans. We won't go into that now. Check out our Run Disney videos. We go into all kinds of, what the race weekends are like, our favorites, all of that. But it is a really, really fun thing. You can even add on to your trip if you're coming down, and it's very open and accessible to all types of people, no matter where you are.
And our last one is our only probably completely free option, and that is Dapper Day. Now, Dapper Day happens twice a year at Disneyland, Disney World, and I believe Disneyland Paris also has at least one Dapper Day. These are basically just days to dress up in your Sunday's best and meet other fancy people in the parks.
Yes, so Dapper Day has a really cool history. It started just kind of as a fan-based event several years ago and has grown hugely. Just Google Dapper Day Walt Disney World or Dapper Day Disneyland and you can find the official website and learn a lot more about it. But it's a really, really fun event for all ages. A lot of people will dress up their entire family, as little kids to grandparents. A lot of people, in their 20s, 30s, our age. It's so fun, and it's kind of weird, like how just dressing a little differently kind of affects a day at the park. And now, since it's grown so big, they've added on a lot of extra events and meetups to meet, fellow participants within the park, and then also at places like Disney Springs, the Disneyland Hotel. It's a great community to start getting involved in.
Yes, and we should note that this is not an official Disney event. You won't find any information about this on Walt Disney World or Disneyland's website. This is all fan hosted, but because of that, there's not a cost to participate in it. All you need is your regular Disney ticket.
And they do, I know at Disneyland, actually have an expo related to this, and I believe there is a small charge to get into that, but it's not prohibitive. Disney World does not have an event like that, but they do have special merchandise that they'll bring into the dress shop at the co-op. Yep. And they'll do some meetups around Disney Springs, so you don't even necessarily need to go into the park to participate in some of the events.
All right, guys, so that was our 5 Disney events that you may want to plan a trip around. I hope that maybe you learned about a new event or two that you didn't know happened previously. If you're gonna maybe look into one of these events now that you hadn't heard of, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and all that fun YouTube-y stuff. See you guys.
Bye.